宇宙には始まりはあるが終わりはない。無限。
What happened aboard MH370 is as puzzling as it was unprecedented. About 40 minutes after takeoff, it disappeared from radar. Its transponders stopped broadcasting. But military radar detected the plane veering inexplicably off course. And later, a maintenance computer started sending signals, 7 in all, to a satellite.
Lumpur, March 7, 2014. Night falls over the capital of Malaysia. Today is Friday, a holiday in this Muslim country. However, at the airport, numerous flights are scheduled for that evening. On the billboard, there is one for Beijing MH370. It is operated by Malaysia Airlines. It is scheduled to leave at 12:25 a.m., and the plane that's going to make the trip is a Boeing 777, one of the prides of the American aircraft manufacturer.
In some kind of field around the plane, which is allowing for the whole plane to undergo what we would call macroscopic decoherence. And we'll have to take a look at the double slit experiment for you guys to really get a better idea of what macroscopic decoherence really means. But the idea behind macroscopic decoherence is that the plane is being reverted back to a wave function.
They decided to peek and see which slit it actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit to see which one it went through and let it fly. But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined. When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of 2 bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both.
The captain was extremely experienced. He was an absolute expert on his aircraft. His simulator that he had at home was based on the aircraft that they were flying that day. He knew everything about that plane.
This commander was well known in this company, especially for its seriousness. At his side, a young co-pilot, Farouk Abdelhamid, an enthusiast who started flying at the age of 20. He is only 27 years old.
BC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas spoke to the experts today.
Tonight, Malaysian authorities are urgently studying the captain's at-home flight simulator for clues.
The simulator was reassembled at the police headquarters.
Investigators want to know, did the captain seen here on a widely circulated YouTube clip appearing to show him going through airport security practice the maneuvers that the flight made beforehand? And today we learned from Malaysian officials the potential critical importance of that last radio transmission from the plane to air traffic control. All right, good night, said someone in the cockpit. Could only 4 words provide clues to help unlock the case?
Larry Vance was one of the main investigators of the 1998 Swiss air crash south of Halifax. In a new book, Vance says he's certain one of MH370's pilots remained in control until he landed on the water. Vance has done a detailed analysis of the wreckage that washed ashore, including this key piece, a flap. He says it has signs, so-called witness marks, which show it was deployed by a pilot and then scraped against the water in a landing designed to keep the plane intact before it sank. Vance says if there had been an uncontrolled dive, the flap would have been extensively damaged and there would have been thousands of pieces of floating debris. And Larry Vance joins us from Ottawa. You don't have the data recorders here, Larry. You have very little from the plane itself. How can you be so sure of your conclusions?
Ian, just by good circumstance, we have the exact pieces of wreckage that appeared on the coast of Africa to tell us exactly what happened at the end of the flight.
It appears the topic of Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 is brimming at the edge of virality into the public consciousness. As I produce this, Ashton Forbes, an investigator with security clearance, hosts a huge space on the topic. 3 weeks ago, Ashton posted his research regarding possible hidden circumstances of this missing aircraft on his YouTube channel. Some ordinary gamers covered this topic 3 months ago, noting localized virality on a UFO subreddit. On Ashton's Twitter X homepage, a breakdown can be found that explains the evidence of a more superordinary explanation for the disappearing craft, as well as an offering of the scientific theory foundational to understand how this is possible. It may involve wormholes, info concerning the military officer responsible potentially for leaking the video, named Commander Edward C. Lin, and also the motive, which includes theories around an anti-competitive scandal with the company Freescale Semiconductor. So for this video, I'll review the evidence and provide my opinion on what I think is going on here. The original published video of the anomaly is no longer on YouTube. Fortunately, an archive was saved to the Wayback Machine, and it was published May 19th, 2014, considered received to the YouTube platform on 12th of March 2014, and then posted 18th of May 2014 from a source considered to be protected. Important to note that it was uploaded to YouTube merely 4 days after the plane went missing, but sat there as a private video, not public facing, for months from March to May. So looking at this clip, we're shown an apparent side-by-side. Ashton details that in fact, these are 2 satellite images, slightly different perspectives from 2 recording cameras. The imaging itself is a very advanced stereoscopic format. So you see a cursor. The cursor indicates that whoever recorded the video was screen recording, likely a computer with video playback side by side, also likely, meaning that this recording was a review of footage captured from the satellites. If you missed a cursor, here it is again, right here. Here. This video depicts a plane, presumably a Boeing 777-200ER, maneuvering a hairpin turn to the maximum of its capabilities, descending altitude, and you see this thing enter the frame. Just watching this, it's moving. Ashton noted that this orb-like object had to be coming in at a few thousand miles an hour. To analyze that notion, we're going to change screens here. So now I'm in a video editor. This allows frame walking. So we're just going to slowly move the frames until something enters the field of view. It's a type of slow-mo, and there we see it coming in from the top right corner at an incredible speed. Because the plane is descending, it's thought that the speed must be around 200 something miles per hour. So you can compare that to the speed at which the orb enters the frame. It does appear to be about 10 times faster. So continuing to frame walk, and then the orb goes out of view. You're going to see it come right back into view. Okay, so let's go ahead and show that. It comes right back into view there. Here's its location. We'll go ahead and walk the frames backwards. You see it emerging from the clouds. And it goes right up to the aircraft. We're running that sequence. So that's the whole sequence there. Back to the original. So you're at the point where there are multiple craft. Each object here appears to move perfectly in sync with the other. You can see that again. It's perfectly in sync. And then they change directions, still in sync. Ashton noted the movement of the mouse cursor whenever the screens were dragged, possibly indicating that the cursor was used to move the framing of the screens. An important point in determining authenticity is if this is a fake vid, why have a mouse cursor present at all? Why not just use your 2014 digital effects to erase anything that hints at the possibility of manipulation? The other focus in determining the authenticity of the video is the cloud cover. And if the cloud cover changes appreciably in this short clip, so that's something we'll keep track of as we go along here. So you see them still flying in formation, but a pattern of the formation has changed to appear more vertical. Now we're going to get to the magic moment of the sequence. Plane continues to fly and bloop, where'd it go? It's gone. A challenge in authenticating the video rests also in its brevity, as clouds don't have as much time to evolve in such a short interval. Right after the plane dematerializes, the cursor moves and the clip seemingly comes to an end, with the screen fading to black, or just as you'll see. Impressive lighting effects on the clouds were noted too by Ashton. And here's a frame walk of the apparent dematerialization. This orb appears to get some increased distance for some reason, indicated here. Then it comes close again. There you go. Ashton noted that this would represent an immense exothermic reaction to completely obliterate a plane, assuming that the plane was destroyed at this moment, and that the energy apparently released doesn't match the size of the explosion. So it's therefore presumed that the energy simply went somewhere else and did not spread out into the environment, implying teleportation. So one frame you have the explosion, next frame it's nothing. You have a few additional frames of nothing. And the sea trail is shown to have stopped here. Although at a presumably lower altitude of around 5,000 feet, it's more understood that the trail could truly be smoke from the plane rather than what we know of as vapor of the sea trail. This video was uploaded August 27, 2014, titled What Really Happened to Flight MH370. It is a slightly higher quality video that does seem to show NROL 22 at the bottom, which I'll demonstrate to you right there. So in Ashton's X post, he notes that 2017 DoD Navy UAP videos showed drone FLIR imaging, and this is where the public at large was introduced to the concept of FLIR. It's an acronym for Forward-Looking Infrared, a type of camera used on military and civilian aircraft. This is the video he's talking about. And so we have this demonstration of infrared photography. The coloration scheme is grayscale. You see the pilot locking in on the unidentified target. Ashton directs us to this video on Web Archive, MQ-1C Gray Eagle with thermal layer. General Atomics MQ-1C Gray Eagle, previously the Warrior, also Sky Warrior, is a medium altitude long endurance unmanned aircraft system, UAS, developed by General Atomics Aerial Systems for the U.S. Army as an upgrade of the General Atomics MQ-1 Predator. And so we have this FLIR footage produced likely by one of these types of craft. What are the odds that an unmanned aircraft system would be in the area of a jetliner being targeted by Orbs that was also captured by satellite footage, ostensibly? Very impressive footage given trails you can see coming from the Orbs. For infrared photography, dark portions are typically cooler areas, as you can see with this example of the human face. So one would surmise seeing dark trails emanating from the ends of orbs could indicate coolness or lack of heat. This could be an indicator of advanced superconductor technology operating at low temperatures. From Ashton's notes on his orb analysis, using superconductivity in order to obtain quantum properties ignore gravity, generating their own geodesics gravity, possibly via accelerated vibration to repulse current. Cold lines are in front of the orbs, not behind. No visible known propulsion mechanisms. And he appears to be right. The cold actually leads the orb, which will indicate here at this arrow. Extremely impressive. He notes that the orb triangle pattern is consistent with a three-phase sinusoidal 440 volts electrical system at 120 degrees that creates a 0 point at the center. Does the mechanism in some way relate to the sum of sine waves? He notes that the big zap in disappearance itself is somehow endothermic or cold. Here, note it there. He speculates that teleportation can go to another dimension, planet, the future, or another point on the Earth. And so here you have the plane with orbs circling, and suddenly so dark dematerialization. Now, using my own skills of observation, I do note here you can see a triangle of orbs circling the plane really consistently before the big disappearance event. They draw in close to the plane, so a little bit far out, then you just kind of draw in close, and then boom, you see a dark area of lower temperature. Then look how this expands. becomes a huge area of lower temperature. From the vantage point of the satellite looking down, it doesn't appear like the orbs are circling across the top of the plane, but that could be due to the lower frame rate of the satellite. I think here determined to be around 6 frames per second. You can also appreciate how it goes out on satellite, appearing as a bright flash of light, like so. So this Ashton Forbes character has really thought a lot of this through with this particular event. Speculation on what occurred with MH370 is warranted because this was a very particular event. Quite unlike any other airplane crash, there was no debris field found. The most expensive search in history was conducted. There were no black boxes found, and this is despite being able to produce a signal for up to 30 days at depths of 20,000 feet. There is a particular unique base near the area called Diego Garcia, which had in its disposal hydrophones with acoustic detection. We have this very fascinating testimony by 19 families of victims who signed a statement claiming that they can call the phones of the victims for up to 4 days after the missing craft became known. And so this would imply that the craft was sent to some locality other than water for the phones to be operable. And there are other significant points in this thread, which I believe should be archived by all. Because of the potential promise of incomprehensibly advanced technology and how that could benefit the world, getting to the bottom of this mystery is of utmost importance to humanity as a whole. To some degree, I speculate if Ashton's appearance onto the public scene could be planned in a way. In recent updates, Ashton posts this: "The strike back. Now is the time we go on the offensive. The phonies have revealed themselves and their intentions. Their goal is to attempt to discredit me and discredit me from the case. We now have enough evidence that we can expose several of them working together with trolls on Twitter that they hide behind. We've been waiting and watching. We've collected the evidence that links them together. I'll be making a short video today, including one that exposes the likely intelligence community assets hiding the real MH370 videos." What he means by this, I have no idea. But something in this message spoke to me, just kind of reminded me of something. Do you know what it is? I'll go ahead and highlight it for you here. We've been watching and waiting. Where have I heard this before? Here I am in the Laughing Men Telegram, seeing a forward from watching and waiting. NRO, the National Reconnaissance Office, Sergeant B. Might Ashton also be one of the Laughing Men? For those of you who've been following me for quite a while, remember the video Sergeant B, Babyface, Ingersoll, Lockwood controversy explored? There's a director. So let's listen again from Babyface.
Like that. That's not what I do. I've told you from the beginning when I ran an operation on research. And I was very clear that we were running a white operation on research to help further the goal of the Q. And if people don't like that, I don't care. Those are the facts. That's what I did.
So here he essentially takes credit for the operation to infiltrate with a B character.
We told you all about it. We provided you the documents. We provided you the sauce, as you like to call it. We provided you endless playbooks to understand what psychological operation is. We provided you the information that is included.
So there he's emphasizing the who provided you the playbooks motif of that post I showed you before. And so years later, I will comment on this. You see, with this page that's behind Babyface, you see the term Technique 1, forum sliding, Technique 2, consensus cracking. So these are principles that were taught to the board community by Sergeant B, Babyface among others, intended to help anonymous ones learn not to be taken advantage of by manipulators. So guess what? So I'm now in MH370X All Pertinent Evidence version 2, one of Ashton's posts, and we're going to scroll down below why teleportation, below science, to disinformation. And check this out. He lists disinformation tactics, including fake compassion, manufactured consensus, narrative control, forum slide, social contagion. Similar talking points. For this MH370 controversy, the fake compassion is going to be a prominent one for the censors. Any speculation may somehow hurt the families of the victims, when just trying to find the truth is harmful. I, for the most part, understand that people on that flight had lost their lives paying the ultimate price, and I send my condolences to the loved ones of those families. I'm in no way asserting that I know exactly what happened to that flight, nor am I asserting that video footage shown in this video absolutely proves teleportation occurred, but I am allowed to ask questions and try to find the truth. I won't cover all of these, but I find the definition of form slide interesting. Using fake accounts to post and then replying to pre-positioned postings with a simple comment. This brings the unrelated postings to the top of the form list and critical posting slides down, so the important stuff becomes buried. I wouldn't say posting this disinformation section constitutes a smoking gun that Ashton Forbes is associated with the Psy War, which occurred on Chans brought by, allegedly, individuals associated with the NRO, but this point is pertinent. So there's this Google Drive that hosts Sergeant B 8kun logs. Some are manuals detailing the control of the mind. Some are books, such as The Short of General War from the Strategic Studies Institute, U.S. Army War College. You have screen captures of posts, often of very technical nature, or obscure military patches.
I'm looking at it firsthand. This has over 832,000 views. That's how compelling this information is to the people that are reading. And as I go through it, I will add some additional information onto it so that you can give a little bit more context as well. So dear Congress, my name is Ashton Forbes. I'm disclosing the most important videos in the history of the world. All of this information is publicly available. I would like to state that I have a top secret US government clearance as part of my job as a contractor. My job has nothing to do with advanced technology. I'm only stating this to establish my credibility.
That's quite interesting. A contractor with top secret clearance. Lastly, addressing the wreckage, you may recall earlier in this video, Larry Vance noted that the wreckage was found off the coast of Africa. There's an AP fact check that disputes any piece of the plane exists in human custody. That piece was examined by France's Civil Aviation Accident Investigation Agency. Malaysia also sent its own investigators. This was back in September 2015. Due to serial numbers, it was thought that with near certainty, this wing flap belonged to the MH370. And so I briefly speculate about could the plane be and not be at the same time, just as with the controversy of wave-particle duality concerning light. I have to leave it now, but pay attention to this account, Ashton Forbes. Sure, there's much more to come. Peace.